feeling that no one wants to experience, a feeling that I would never wish on someone else. I've always struggled with an inability to advocate for myself. I often push aside my own needs to please others. However, in the summer of 2022, when I advocated for myself against my ill-mannered manager, I was at my best. The prior summer, I was 15 and I decided that it was about time I gained some responsibility and got my first job. So I started working at the same restaurant that my sister was working at, and she was actually the one who trained me in. But she was 18 and college was around the corner, so she was leaving soon, and that meant that I would have to start working evening shifts with the other high schoolers. That was so nerve-wracking for me because it was a bunch of upperclassmen girls, and I really wanted them to like me and to not think that I was silly if I didn't remember the dishes' names or where the tables were. In the first shift without my sister, I was so nervous for, but the girls were very kind to me and they didn't mind my shyness or a few mistakes that I had made. After a while of working there, I became more confident in myself and my ability to remember the dishes' names and where the tables are. And I even began to form relationships with my coworkers and became acquainted with the kitchen and the servers. I've even worked out a schedule that worked well for me and my manager. I was working every Tuesday, every Thursday, and then every other Sunday. After about 6 months of working there, I turned 16 and I got my driver's license, and I became very confident in my ability to do the job. So my manager came to me and offered me the position of expo. If you guys don't know what an expo is in the restaurant business, it's the person who's in the back who gets the dishes from the kitchen and they assemble the plate. So they'll put the chips on, they'll put the fries on, they'll put the dressings on, and then they'll look at the card and they'll tell the food runner where to run the food. I graciously accepted this position because not only had I grown more confident in my ability, it also came with a $2 pay raise and a free meal after every shift. After that, I continued working every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every other Sunday, and summer was nearing. Unfortunately, my manager came in and told us that she had been offered a position at a place that she'd been wanting to work at for a long time, and that unfortunately that meant that she'd be leaving, but not to worry that she had someone lined up. The new manager would be starting in a month, and my old manager would be training her in. That month went by really fast, and before I knew it, my old manager had left. I was sad about it because I'd grown to really like her, and she had a good relationship with me and my sister, and I knew that I was comfortable with her and knowing that we were on the same level about my schedule. Well, summer comes around, and a new schedule comes out that was made by the new manager, and I was working 6 out of 7 days, all 4 to 10. That just wasn't going to work for me. I was already missing out on some stuff with my lax schedule already, and that would be my entire summer gone. So I went in and talked to my new manager and told her how that wouldn't work for me, and she told me she'd work on it. I worked that 2 weeks of 6 out of 7 days, 4 to 10, and when that new schedule came out and I saw that I was working 5 out of 7 days, 4 to 10, and the vacation that I requested off 5 months prior declined, I was beside myself. After a long conversation with my parents, we decided together that maybe this just wasn't the right job for me, that working in the restaurant business and working from 4 to 10 at only 16 just wasn't a good environment for me. So after that conversation, I decided that I would be putting in a notice. I talked to one of my older coworkers who had quit, and she said that she just wrote a note and slipped it into the manager's office. So I did so, and I wrote a polite note explaining why I would be quitting and that this is my notice. About 2 days later, I got a text message from my manager, and she explained to me that actually, unfortunately, I'd have to work the rest of my schedule because she couldn't find a cover. But that wasn't going to work for me because I had the family vacation and I knew that I'd have to go. So I politely texted her back and said, unfortunately, I would be quitting effective immediately. While working at this restaurant, I faced many challenges, but I learned from them. I was taught that allowing someone to walk all over you to avoid being a burden leaves no room for growth. I am Raegan M, and this was a time that I was at my best.